I wanted to mention a little more about my baby sister. I kind of wanted to correct something a little bit. When I said that she overly values herself and doesn't value others so much. Um, Not that that's not true. It's very true. It's just, to be honest, I don't think she has very much value in herself at all. Um, Truth be told, I've noticed that seems to be a key thing in my family and in people in general. The more it seems somebody values themselves, the more they really don't value themselves at all. Uh, and really, to tell the difference between somebody who really values himself and who really doesn't is just pay attention to how they treat people. If they do not value others, it is genuinely because they do not value themselves. And if they do value others, it is because they actually value themselves as well. Um, for example, like when my sister, she made very clear she doesn't want me going into the local theater and performing where she is, and she said nasty things just to make sure I wouldn't come. She doesn't want me performing down the stockyards where she's at. Not that I have a problem with that, honestly. Western is not my style, and I don't think I do the accent too well. Or at least I've been told I don't do the accent too well by my sister and my mom. Um, so, if you don't fit in a part, don't try to fit there. Secondly, I'm just not into Western. So, that doesn't resonate with me too much. It did hurt for her to say such mean things to me, though, just to try to make sure I don't go to a local theater where I could have performed with her. But, she had to make sure that wouldn't happen just by hurting me and making it very clear she didn't want me there. Uh, there would be and sorry, brain fogging for a moment. But there was one point I got to go to the local theater, and that's because they started teaching children. And my sister said they really needed all the help they could get. So I wasn't going to be performing or getting any attention. I was just going to be helping children, and I didn't mind that at all. So I wanted to help out because I enjoy helping people. I enjoy being there for them. Um, so I did go down there twice for two performances to help with the kids. I haven't been invited to go back, but that's more of this sense because my sister doesn't want to go or volunteer or something. So I was only allowed to go because she wanted to. That seems to be my mom's priority, whatever my sister wants. Uh, if I need to do something, it's really not so much a priority. I have to schedule around my priorities around things that they want and times that they want to go get something. That way I can get the things I need. Um, Such as my aloe vera juice for my heartburn. I have to schedule my time going to the grocery store with them because I don't have a license yet, so I still am very much dependent on them. But if my baby sister wants something or needs to go do something, it doesn't matter if it's in their schedule or not. My mom will go out of her way and make sure that it happens. Um, so yeah, this, I guess it's not so much a priority in my sister to be there anymore. To help with the children, so it doesn't happen anymore. Though it is still a priority to her to perform and be on stage. So uh, last performance that the theater had, and this performance that they are practicing for right now, my sister is in. Um, and my mom is making sure to schedule things around my sister, um, which isn't a problem, but it's just my point that she's the priority. I really am not. um, but when I was there, I do connect to people. I try to befriend them because I don't know who's having a bad day or who's lonely and just wants a friend. So I honestly try to befriend everyone and anyone I can. Um, and there was at one point somebody said, "Oh, so you're my name sister." Uh, you could say Little Warrior's sister. And but it was my actual name, which I'm not gonna say. And I was like, oh crap, because I knew that's not what my sister would want to hear. Because she wants to hear that this is so and so sister, rather than people not know her name. She would want them to not know my name and refer to me as her sister, me being referred to as her sister, rather than her being referred to as my sister. Uh, not really mentioning her name. That person sometimes when you go to a group or maybe a church and they're like, "Oh, so you're Johnny's sister." And maybe Johnny's sister hates that because she doesn't feel like her name is acknowledged or anybody really knows her. They know Johnny, and she is Johnny's sister. So that's something my sister doesn't want to hear. She doesn't want to hear this is Little Warrior sister. Um, and when the woman had said that, I did look at her and say, "Oh, my sister would want to hear that." But the thing is, I learned something while I was there for those two performances with those children. And no, I did not perform. It was just for the children. You would teach them to perform, and then they would perform. Um, so I was befriending people. I was being kind. I was acknowledging them. And I was trying to pour so much love into those children as much as I could because I know what it's like growing up with a crappy childhood. And a kid might be smiling, but you still don't know what's going on at home. Or if it's great at home and there's just this one jerk in their family. That kid can use all the love they can get. So honestly, I just tried to pour love into those kids and acknowledge everybody and just do the best I can to be friendly. And the fact that they could remember my name, but some of them didn't know my baby sister's name, it finally occurred to me that she was jealous of me because she thinks I'm taking attention. She doesn't understand I'm giving attention. And in a sense, as well, then she doesn't value herself, which is why she would demand so much attention because she wants to prove she's valuable. She wants to prove to people that she felt didn't value her that she's valuable. When the truth is, she really needs to prove to herself she's valuable. She doesn't need to prove that to me. I've already said she's very talented. I never said she wasn't valuable. I've never said she wasn't good enough. In fact, I very much said so she was very good at what she does. So, this is why I say, the people that really demean people are the ones that do not value themselves. If they're not valuing others, they're not valuing themselves. After how many times she had insulted me, demeaned me, said so many mean, cruel things, and accused me of trying to take attention from her, in that moment where the moment those words were said, "Oh, so this is Little Warrior sister," it finally occurred to me my sister was misreading so much in her own insecurities. She's insecure with herself and feels that she's not good enough. She's not valuable. She sees me and our other sister making friends when we were growing up and talking to people and hanging out and gets jealous and thinks we're want attention. And that's not the case. The case was that I was a very shy person growing up and I didn't want anybody else to feel that alone. So I always made an effort to connect with people. Our other sister, on the other hand, got that she did have a bit of an attention thing. I'll mention that in another video, though. But nonetheless, my baby sister was being jealous over this, rather than realize if she wants friends, she'll have to say hi. She'll have to conversate. She'll have to connect. She'll have to value the other person, which she very much lacked. So instead of facing that her problems were her problems and she can correct these problems, these are not like a problem that can't be fixed. Of course, they can be corrected. Many problems can be corrected. I would say very few can't. Such as if you lose your hand or something. That's a little drastic, but that's kind of a problem. You can't actually, regrow your hand back. At least with the science we have right now, we can't. But, you know, for the most part, if it's an emotional or mental problem, it can be fixed, or there can be tools to help manage it. So she had a problem here, but rather than recognizing it was her problem, she just had a jealousy towards her sisters, jealousy towards me. And it's not that I didn't know she didn't make friends. When we were growing up in church, I knew she had difficulty. I still remember her looking at me and saying, "I'm so sad I don't got friends like you." And I remember trying to be a determined sister to do the best I can for her. And I kid you not, I went around greeting people around church, and I would be like, "Hey, you gotta come meet my sister." And I would come bring them to her. And I would do this plenty of times in one night. And those people never stood there except for maybe a matter of seconds, uh, talking with her. It's just, at the moment with the theater, a lot of things clicked in my mind, and I began to understand the reasons for her actions. She's not connective. She doesn't value other people. Even when I would bring people to her and introduce them, I'm here being blamed for not helping her have friends. I'm being blamed for her not making friends. She's spoiled and feels she's entitled to have these friends and this attention, but all the same, she didn't think for herself and understand if you want to make friends, you have to think and communicate. You have to think and value the other person. So, yeah, this problem she has is linked because she's spoiled. It's also linked because she doesn't think for herself. And her blaming me for her problem has a lot to do with these other problems she has. The problems linked to the problem. And then blaming me, that is also a problem because it's not my fault. A lot of things I get blamed for is not my fault. Um, so that was another thing I wanted to mention and correct a little bit. That yes, she overly values herself. She feels entitled and deserving to have all these people give her attention. But all the same, she doesn't value herself. If she did truly value herself, she wouldn't feel a need to have so much attention to keep feeding it and confirming it. But people that do not value themselves, it's, I don't know how better else to put this other than it's like a leech. They need to keep sucking blood and more blood and more blood to feel full. It's like a mental, spiritual, emotional leech. She doesn't feel valuable. So she needs to suck attention out of others in order to keep feeding and feeding and feeding so she can feel valuable. But somebody who does feel valuable, truly feels valuable, they don't feel the need to keep sucking attention out. For example, I do not try to suck attention out of people toward me. I'm more so making an effort to give attention. I don't leech off of them. I'm always giving. And that was something at that moment at the theater that I finally had realized, and I thought it was very sad to realize after all the mean things and blame and things that have been said to me. It just broke my heart to the point I'm just crying to, finally reach the realization my sister's one very, very jealous of me. She has a very bad problems, and she's very much so misreading things. And rather than resolve these problems, she places the blame on others. As I had said before, if you meet somebody who's spoiled, sometimes they'll blame you for the mess in their workplace when clearly nobody has been in their workplace but them. Their area of working, and it's a mess. It's their fault, but they're not going to say so. They don't believe it is. They're very deluded, and they will blame you. It's the same with my sister. She's got too many problems inside going on, too much jealousy, too much obscurity of vision of others and of self, but she doesn't recognize that it's in her, so these are her problems. Instead, she puts blame externally outward on someone else rather than internally where she can fix things. Um, so that was a little more I wanted to go into detail about my sister. I corrected a little bit and, explain a little bit more deeper detail because she does have this personality to seem to overvalue herself, but I think that's because she really doesn't have the self-value that she needs, um, which puts a lot of hindrance and real connection to people she could have. I would say she does have some friends now, um, but again, remember that these friends are people that she's around that are constantly giving her some sort of attention, even if that attention is um, pretty much it's just fueling the attention she wants to hear. She's a good singer, she's a good actress, she's this, she's beautiful, she's that. But there's not so much of her giving that back. At least not that I've seen. Um, I mean, sometimes she'll say some things, but it's really like a script. Like, mom's giving her this train of thought, like, you say this way, you think this way. So when she says it, it's only at certain people, and it's always in agreement with mom. Uh, that does not feel like it really doesn't seem to have a very genuine connection to her. Uh, to be honest, uh, which is sad. I really don't think there's any more I could go into depth of explaining this. I think I've explained it the best way I can. Uh, all in all, that's very sad because, when it's your sister, you want to see better for her. You want to see better for them, for any of your siblings. And to know that this is where their state of mind is and you can't help them, but you're going to keep being blamed for it. Uh, in a sense, like you should be the one to fix it when you can't and only they can. It's a very sad and very frustrating, hard place to be. To love your siblings so much and to have a responsibility on you to fix something you really can't fix. Um, that honestly was a lot of my upbringing. Just, I had a lot of responsibility on me of things that um, I couldn't fix. It had a lot to do with what was going inside them. A lot of them. Okay. Well, I'm done now. So you have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever this is being watched. Um, Goodbye then.